from different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Welcome back, you guys. I feel like it's been so long. It's been so long. I am over 4 months pregnant. It's crazy. It's insane.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. We have been so busy as Methodists, just preparing something very special for you all. This is entirely separate from my pregnancy.
I thought you were preparing the baby for us all, but something.
Yes, that has also been happening. We have been diligently working, spending so much time in preparation and research, in data, and all of these things to come up with season 2 for all of you. So
Yay!
we're so excited to introduce today as episode 1 of season 2. You'll notice there'll be a couple changes in our little flow, but we're excited to dive right in. So let's go ahead and start with a 5-minute update. So, Tim, you want to get us started?
Okay, sure. Yeah. It's been a few weeks, but the most significant event that I've had so far, that entire, however many weeks it was, is I went to South Dakota to support my high school friend in his wedding. And it was kind of interesting because what ended up happening was I found out like towards the very end before I was going to fly out that I was going to be one of his groomsmen. So I actually ended up standing on the stage with like a suit and tie and everything. And it was real like customary for the wedding and everything. And so it was a really interesting experience. But to kind of start things off, this is the first time I actually flew by myself. Normally, my mom and I like to travel together, and like I just basically take an airplane with her. But this time I went by myself, and I just didn't give myself enough time to get on the airplane. I was actually an hour later than I planned to leave, which was a huge problem. Okay, no problem. Go ahead and make it to the airport with like not that much time, no issues. But then I deal with the LAX traffic, and that was an additional 35 minutes to 40 minutes. And I legitimately missed my flight. And I was kind of panicking. It was crazy. Luckily, the person that mentioned that I would not be able to get my ticket for the flight that I was booked for, he was able to schedule me for another flight. But it was 4 hours later than my initial flight, which means that I ended up in my hotel room at like 11:30 or midnight. But I made the best of it. You know, I was so like relieved about getting the next flight that I basically just was able to relax that whole time at the airport. Like I was just in a very peaceful state of mind, like after all that adrenaline trying to get to the airport, that I just kind of walked around. I kind of looked around the shops, and then I realized that I basically did not have any sort of time whatsoever in the evening to eat dinner because I was going to be on airplanes. So I ended up having like a 3 o'clock in the afternoon dinner. I guess that's like dinner to the highest degree. So one huge thing that happened was very shocking was the fact that I opened up my bag, and okay, so to give some background here, the TSA doesn't let you bring in liquids. Like you can fill up your water bottle when you get inside or buy stuff from the store, but to get through the security checkpoint, you can't have any liquids. Like it's got to be 3.5 ounces or lower. So for all of you listeners, every once in a while, I'm talking about my olive oil. So I put my olive oil in the check-in bag. Okay, no problem. I'll just not have my olive oil from my hands while I'm on the airplane. I'll find something else that I can do.
Like lotion, maybe.
Yeah. I actually did buy a small thing of lotion because my hands were screaming at me. So I get to my hotel room and I look at my olive oil and it's just legitimately exploded. The bottle, there's just no like olive oil inside the bottle really. But luckily I had the olive oil in a plastic bag because it would have got olive oil all over my clothes and everything. So I gotta say, after that experience and having that lotion that I bought at the store, I've switched over. I'm not gonna carry olive oil anymore, and I'm starting to carry lotion.
That's what it took.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So much has happened between season 1 and 2, apparently.
Yeah, the switch over, the olive oil to lotion. That's what the whole development. We're in season 2 now.
But wasn't it lotion to olive oil back to lotion?
Yes, that's what it was. Indeed.
Okay.
Wow. Congratulations, Tim.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to worry about flammable operations going on when I'm cooking food, and and also I guess it's kind of appropriate because I'm not on the keto diet anymore, so I don't need to carry olive oil with me all the time. Plus, I found out that lotion is actually really inexpensive in general, cheaper than olive oil. So there's lots of benefits to buying regular lotion and having
the people out there, they already know about lotion. Like, they know it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of my update, I would say. But there's a huge development there.
Very exciting. That's very exciting, Tim.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm still going to get you some more lotion for Christmas.
Oh, yay. Perfect.
Yeah. So I would say, for my updates, my little 5-minute update here, things have been expanding in the mid region of my body. And I have found the greatest pants in the world that I wish I could have found even before being pregnant, which is maternity pants. Because listen, you don't have to button them. You don't have to zip them. They're kind of like sweatpants, but they look like you're wearing jeans.
Wow.
And there's the spandex portion around your stomach. So it's like the most comfortable pants I've ever experienced. It's very exciting. So if you've ever been curious of what kind of pants to wear for this upcoming Thanksgiving, go out to your local store into the maternity section and grab yourself a pair of maternity pants. Other than that, let's see. I know the young adults have been preparing for our upcoming young adult service. And so that's been exciting. I'm really excited for us to take the lead on that on November 10th.
So just you and Amber then?
Say again?
Just you and Amber, you're the young adults?
Yeah, just Amber and I, especially because I'm no longer really in the age range, but sort of in the age range.
You married in.
I married into the young adult group.
Or Jessica did, or Amber did.
Yeah, right. Or Amber did, yeah. Other than that, we've been getting our nursery ready, and we are so blessed because Amber knew, well, of course she knows, but one of her coworkers at work was giving away one of like a crib because her kids never used it. She has 3 kids and they literally none of them slept in it. And and we originally were just going to keep the bassinet. We have a bassinet that we purchased. And so we were planning on just using that. And we were just going to wait, as long as we needed to buy a crib. But we were like, well, it's free. So we're totally going to take this. And then not only that, but they had like a rocker glider chair with a gliding footstool that they gave to us for free as well. So we are literally hooked up, ready to go. And my mom got us a stroller and a car seat that's arriving tomorrow. So I'm like, I will literally have like a little less than 5 months to learn how to put the car seat in, remove it, do the stroller, basically do a timed thing to see how fast I can put together the stroller, put it out, like all that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited to get that going.
Are you going to turn this into like military exercise?
Pretty much. It'll basically be the same thing when you had like less than 9 seconds to put your gas mask on when we did like chemical warfare training. So I'll probably treat it the same, except, and I have considered getting a gas mask for when I have to change diapers.
I was going to say you might.
So I might have to go to like a military surplus store to get one of those around the waist and thigh gas masks. So that's kind of what this past, couple weeks has been, preparing for everything. Also just enjoying the moment and excited about what's coming up. So that's it on my end. So
that's
Beth,
awesome, Jessica.
Yeah, Beth, what about you?
Okay, well, so I feel like 3 lifetimes have happened since we podcasted.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, I went on staff retreat in Wrightwood with, we rented a cabin, and it was me, Pastor Jim, and Don Morris. There's a lot of Dons at our church. You got to specify.
Yeah.
Let's just get all of the Dons in a room. Why am I getting sidetracked by my update about all the Dons? It's fine. Anyway, and then I was supposed to go to a wedding in Utah the following week. And as I was messaging back and forth with my friend, trying to figure out the logistics of everything, she was telling me like, okay, I'll get the hotel room and this and that. And then I was like, all of that sounds good. And the wedding was going to be on Monday. Indigenous Peoples Day was when the wedding was. And so I was going to drive to Utah Sunday after church, spend all of Monday there, get up really early on Tuesday so I could be back in town for my improv show, which also happened to be on Craig's birthday. And so I'm telling
Happy birthday, Craig.
Happy birthday, Craig.
Happy birthday, Craig.
Thanks. It was the 15th.
Oh.
Yeah. And so she's like, as I told her that, she was like, are you sure you want to come? Like, that seems like a lot that you're going to have to do. And I was like, no, I can do everything. And then she said, Beth, I listened to your podcast. I know how busy you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to let you down. But so I ended up not going. And I was really thankful that I do have friends like Nicole who are still trying to watch out for my own mental health when I'm so carelessly like trying to throw it away or whatever. So
wow.
What I did do instead, Monday, Miriam's son Samuel had to fly back to school in Arizona, and she had to drop him off at the Burbank airport. So I offered her a plan. I was like, we should go to Burbank. I didn't even know Samuel was going to the airport that day, but I know she has Mondays off because she works in the office with me on Mondays. So, I was like, let's go to Burbank and go to IKEA and say hi to Pastor John. And so that's what we did. We went and we saw Pastor John, and then we went to IKEA and got Samuel off to the airport, and then his flight was delayed like 3 hours or something. Yeah, so I got to visit Pastor John, and
all right,
that was really cool. And Miriam and Joseph and Samuel all came with, and then Tuesday night, the 15th, I performed live improv in front of a group of people because I finished my improv class. And actually what I did was I arranged a big night in LA for Craig's birthday where I got a group of people together and we performed improv for just him. I'm just kidding. I do like to pretend that I like one time I took credit for Chick-fil-A opening on Craig's birthday and I said, Craig's birthday, I arranged for Chick-fil-A to open. And it was that day. And we were trying to decide if we were going to go or not. We ended up going and we saw a double rainbow. I took credit for that too. That was for Craig's birthday. You're welcome.
Wow.
Give him a double rainbow.
Nice. Humans do control the weather. Thanks.
Yeah.
But Craig actually really likes ramen. And although there are some pretty good ramen places here in the Antelope Valley, it's still fun to find those little treasures in LA. So we had ramen and it was a really fun night. And I'm currently recovering forever from my life in general, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at too, Beth. Just recovering from life in general. Yes.
Yeah. Totally. I wanted to interject real quick and just provide a couple church updates before you continue on, Beth. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay. So just really quick, I wanted to share 3 things. One is this Saturday, the 26th you're never going to guess where this is at. The In-Betweeners are meeting at Don's house. But
will it be a room full of Dons?
It'll be Don and Andrea Osterly's house from 6 to 9 p.m. So that's on this Saturday, the 26th. And then on the 27th is Trunk or Treat / bake sale from 3 to 5 p.m. at the church. We are very excited about that. We have our outfits. And then Friday and Saturday, November 1st and 2nd is the men's retreat at Wrightwood. So be sure to sign up in the church lobby. Those are the updates for people.
I have one update.
Oh, good.
There will be Kids Club this Wednesday, the 23rd.
Nice.
At 5:30 with Miss Miriam. So
all right. Awesome.
Yep, come for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What do you get for us next, Beth?
Well, as some of our listeners may know, we used to do what we called a ministry moment, but we had a meeting as podcast hosts sometimes do.
Diligently.
Yes.
With data science and research.
It was very studious.
Yeah. And I just took pages and pages of notes
and recorded timestamps. It was incredible.
I took a page of notes.
We even wrote essays for peer review.
Yep. I'm still waiting for those to come back. So the ministry moment is under construction. Stay tuned. I'm just kidding. We actually decided that we're going to broaden it just a little bit. Instead of an eensy, teeny tiny ministry, we're broadening it to make it a Methodist moment.
Woo! Do we want to practice our theme song for the Methodist moment really quick?
Okay, hold on. Let me get my pitch pipe ready.
Okay. Okay.
Methodist moment. Methodist moment.
Yep. Methodist moment. Methodist moment. It's time to go with Methodist moment.
That was so good. That was so good that my Zoom thought that we should set up professional audio in audio settings.
Really?
Yes.
Can you cut out what I sang and then put some music behind it and just play that every time?
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. That was pretty good. Maybe we'll have to just, maybe next
moment.
You had a professional audio recording.
So a Methodist moment could be anywhere from talking about the guest we have on today, or even just talking about what it means to be a Methodist. And I think the Pastor Jim just finished a 3-week series on, what was it? Growing Together.
Yes.
And he talked about discipleship enough and how, let's face it, Christians aren't doing it enough. And so I thought it would be kind of cool if we each shared how we're involved in discipleship in church, or how you would like to be. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Jessica.
I'll go ahead and start. So, selfishly, Amber and I were really wanting to do a Bible study. And after Pastor John left, the young adults weren't really meeting. So we were like, well, let's just have a Bible study with the young adults. And so we, kind of took the initiative to do it, but we love that every other Sunday, the young adults come to our house and everybody leads it together. It's not just me and Amber, it's all of us together. We're all leading this Bible study together, just wanting to grow together in Christ. And it's very special. And we've always had really amazing conversations come of it. And so if you're between the ages of, 18 and 100, you're welcome to join and hang out with us and have really good conversations. If you don't have a book yet that we use to, join in, that's okay. If you've never been, that's okay. You can show up without having any preconceived knowledge, any of that. And we would love to have you in our home and have a wonderful Bible study with you. And most of the time we bring snacks. So if anything, you get a happy tummy. So, so that's
awesome.
That's our way of discipleship within PUMC.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I'm so glad you set up that Bible study, Jessica. It's been like a blessing in general, just all the wonderful conversations we're having and like fellowship. And we're really like having discipleship, like relationship building there. Like I would say, and like all of our like testimonies that we're sharing with each other, and we're growing in our faith. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Wait, is us doing this podcast a form of discipleship?
Yes.
You know what? Totally is.
Yes. We are growing in our discipleship relationships here in this podcast. It's like a perfect example.
Yes.
And I think we've actually learned a lot about each other's like viewpoints on things and like our faith. And I think we've all grown in our relationship with God just by like talking with each other, like sharing our insights with each other, but also our vulnerability and just things that we learn from Pastor Jim. I think it's just a wonderful opportunity that we have here. And then we're sharing it with our audience. So it's almost like our audience members are in discipleship with us when they listen to our podcast.
Does that make us pastors?
No.
Much.
Pretty much. I mean,
I don't know.
Google pay $100, get ordained. Listen.
Is that what the website's called? Pay $100, getordained.com?
Yeah, there's a couple dashes in the middle, but I think it's .org. But
.org. Because it's nonprofit. Yeah.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Well, actually, it's kind of interesting because one of Pastor Jim's sermons here in the sermon series we're going to cover here shortly in Growing Together, he was talking about how there's different types of ministry. And we're kind of doing like, we're not doing standard ministry here. This is kind of like the rap version of ministry or something. We got like this podcast going here.
Yeah. It's kind of like what Beth went to school for, because she's a master of improv now.
Right.
It's like we're improv discipleship.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, speaking of rap, in the very beginning of the first season, Beth was doing a wrap for Beth's ministry moment. So this podcast's got it all here for ministry and discipleship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tim, how do you, besides the podcast, how do you connect with others in the church? Actually, sorry.
Huh?
I just, never mind. I want to see what you're going to share. And then I would like, never mind, just go.
Sorry. Yeah. I definitely have something to share. So I think for sure, the way that I kind of bring forth a sense of discipleship in the church is one big thing that I do on a regular basis is I'm part of the choir. And I feel like it's a special place for me because I really do like value my singing voice, and I also like singing for God. And then there's just like such an opportunity for fellowship there in the choir. And when I'm like there in church in person, like there's been like at least a handful of times, numerous times where I've asked people to join the choir, and then we find out that we get another person, and that's just like everybody is growing in their faith when we're all singing together. And the other thing that I do is I just try to be a blessing whenever I talk to somebody in the church, like whether it's like just talking about normal stuff or like maybe talking about God or something. And I just try to make everybody's day better when I'm at the church, and basically trying to be a blessing for somebody else. And so I hope that by my doing that, it sort of like allows people to appreciate God more and appreciate their neighbor more. And I want to continue to do that and just try to make it so people feel really comforted and loved in the church. And I know I'm just one person, but I think every one person, if they kind of do their part in trying to bring love, then it makes like not only the church a better place, but it makes the world a better place. So yeah, I don't know if that was the way to answer the question or if there was a question to begin with, but
that was perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was hoping that you would share about the Bible study that you do with your friends from work.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't always have to be connected directly to the church.
Oh, yes. I'm so glad you brought that up because I was kind of thinking about bringing that up, but then I totally forgot that I was going to bring it up. So
that's why I was like, let's see what Tim has to say. Say it, then I'll bring it up.
Yeah. So what ended up happening there was I just like working with some of my coworkers, and at the time we weren't all that friendly, but at times we were. But like all of a sudden we just started having conversations about like faith and things. And one of my coworker friends brought up the fact that, oh, maybe we should have a Bible study. And we just kept kind of like circulating that idea across like each other. Like first it was my one coworker friend, then it was my other, who's like, oh yeah, for sure. And then like finally somebody decided to set up a group conversation. And, so then it was like sort of like, okay, how do we find the time? And I mentioned, oh, I go to choir on Thursdays. Maybe we could do Bible study after that. And then we needed to find a platform. At first we were going to use Google Meet, and they have like a 30-minute like timer on there. Like after 30 minutes, you can't study anymore. So I found this one like free platform that's like that has an emphasis on like the fact that it's free. It's called Jitsi. So instead of like any other conferencing tool, it's like totally free. And so we just meet on there like every Thursday night. And even though our faiths are a little different, like they're two of my coworker friends are Catholics, and one of my coworker friends goes to a non-denominational church. And then, of course, I go to the United Methodist Church. It's just ended up being like this really like nice, fluid like conversation that we have about faith. And we legitimately just go into the Bible and say, hey, let's study James or let's study Romans. And so what we do is we switch off reading. And then after it's so kind of like Jessica's and Amber's Bible study, where we are all kind of leading it. That's how we're doing it here at my coworker friend Bible study. And so like we switch off reading and then we just discuss whatever like interesting points that happen to come to mind after we read. And so we've just kind of like developed like a discipleship sort of relationship through this Bible study. And we've all kind of like grown in friendship and so forth. And I envision that I'll probably keep this Bible study going like for years to come, because it's just a really nice like way to share like faith in God and like and just how important it is that we cultivate that, and we're deepening our relationships with each other too. So I really think that is the essence of discipleship relationship. It's like you're together in discipleship, but then you're also deepening your relationship with one another. So yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Beth,
Thank you.
What about you?
Well, I've been sitting here this whole time just in a panic because I haven't been doing my usual quote unquote discipleship things that I usually do. Like I signed up for lunch church, and I can't remember the last time I've been available to go to lunch church, which is one of the discipleships I was doing. And then I was going to messy church every Wednesday. I'm not doing that right now in my life. But then Tim was like, choir. And I was like, oh, I'm in choir. I've been doing this one. And then, and also there's a really long discipleship class that is like half the year or something. It's several weeks. And I'm always intimidated by that one because of how long it is. And sometimes my brain just turns literal for no reason at all. And so I'm like, I can't do discipleship. That's too long of a time period. But it's just that class that's called discipleship, I think. Don't quote me on that. Anyway.
It's off the record. Don't worry about it.
Stricken. And also when I can go, I go to the quilting ministry, which is basically like a craft palooza.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the new name for season 2 of Palmdale United Methodist Church?
Craft palooza? Yes.
Craft palooza.
But I've been thinking, like, I've been racking my brain, like thinking of things that I could do, like things that I have passion for. And I actually want to have a craft night at my house that's, church sanctioned. And I want to call it either Craft Palooza, or I thought this was pretty good, Kids Club After Dark.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
both like to craft too. Anyway.
Or like Shawl After Dark.
Yep. So.
And you're like, what's Shawl up to?
That's amazing. Yeah. So I want to get that in the works. Stay tuned for that because I'm really excited about it. And it'll give me an opportunity to force myself to clean my house because it needs it.
That's why we do Bible study at our house
every 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
I'm gonna have Craft After Dark, Kids Club After Dark, every 2 weeks at my house.
Oh wow!
I'm not.
That's wonderful. Oh,
but anyway, one of the discipleships that I used to be a part of was scripture journaling, and we would meet every morning at 7 a.m. I don't know how I did that. I'm not a morning person, but I did, and we would just read our Bibles and write stuff and laugh a lot. There was a lot of laughter.
Yeah, because nobody was awake yet and everybody was delirious.
Yeah. It was mostly me. They were laughing at me half asleep on the table and drooling.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, like I met some of my favorite people through that group, and it's since switched to online scripture journaling, and I haven't been a part of the online scripture journaling in a couple years because my schedule wouldn't allow it. But now I think I'm going to have to find out when it is. Since I'm not driving Owen to school anymore, I can probably do it.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Speaking of some of my favorite people that I've met through scripture journaling, Kathany Ankeny is one of them. And she has sent us a couple emails, and I'm going to share them with you.
Oh, right. Woohoo.
Okay.
Very nice.
This one is from October 7th of this year. And the subject says, couldn't wait to email. Good morning, MTTM podcasters, from your number one fan, Kathany. Oh my goodness, she put a timestamp on it. It's 10/7/24 at 7:40, and I am late listening to the 10/1 podcast. Is that AM or PM though? I bet it doesn't matter. I have to. It was AM. I checked the email.
Is it AM, PM, or 7-Eleven?
Oh.
Yes. Anyway. Oh, Tim, in answer to your opening greeting and question of when do you use are versus is question, I can't explain the actual rule, but the way I intuitively know it is this. Using are means you're addressing more than one person. How are you two doing? But the odd thing is when you say, is everyone okay? That's okay. In the case of your opening greeting to your fellow podcasters, you self-corrected and properly asked them, how are you both doing? In my prehistoric school days, I couldn't diagram a sentence to save my life, but I seemed to know what the proper outcome was supposed to look like. Thanks to my sweet mother for that gift. I loved diagramming sentences when I was a kid. Can I do it now? Probably not, but I was so good at it back in the day. Why did we need to know that? I have no idea. Am I diagramming sentences now? No. Okay. Anyway, and then the next line is, as long as I've got your attention, as I, went on a tangent about whatever, let me add, I have a long list of notes and comments I've written down from your recent podcasts, the sermon reflections, pregnancy updates, Owen driving, and all the tall Tim adventures. Sadly, the note has been playing hide and seek since I set it down somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's in the room of requirement, but I can't remember the proper spell to call it forward. So it won't make much sense to talk about them if they ever do show up. I will miss the boutique and trunk or treat this year. I hope the blustery winds don't barge in this year. Everything was so neat last year. A lot of beautiful work by all you talented folks. I continue to watch sermons online. I love and miss my PUMC family. All the best to you.
Wow, that was really nice. Really appreciate that. I thought it was so funny. Okay, Kathany said, "Tall Tim adventures."
It's perfect.
So the second one, still from Kathany Ankeny, addendum. It's Kathany again. I wanted to offer a round of applause for your. Did I say it was October 11th at 2?
Wait, how many days ago was that? Oh, that was 10 days ago.
It was? Right. How was that so long ago? Not yesterday. Anyway.
Wow.
I wanted to offer a round of applause for your wonderful reflections on the sermon about the blind man. Gratitude, faith, love. I was grateful for and loved hearing your thoughts on Pastor Jim's excellent sermon. For the past little while, I've been addressing how frequently I defer to my cell phone in public places and have purposely kept it in my purse or pocket more often lately. The sermon and your reflections really resonated with me. I try to stop looking down at a book or my phone and instead look up and around when I'm out and about. Those moments of being present with the people around me almost always seem so much more calming and rewarding. And Jessica, I had a similar experience. I'm just pointing in general, not even to either of you. I had a similar experience with the magical Disney powers of Pastor Jim, only mine was in Disney World. I was on a wonderful Three Widows and Me trip with my sister, who is not a widow, sister-in-law, and cousin. Even though our trip was planned down to every minute of all 4 days, PJ offered that I could text anytime to get the lowdown on what was around any corner. And he did. He knew every place I was and what surrounded me at all points of the compass. Who knows that much and is so generous sharing it? PJ, of course. We are a lucky PUMC family. Thank you all again for the excellent podcast. Kathany.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's funny to me that I'm reading this today after Pastor Jim pulled up his Apple Notes planning for his trip to Tokyo.
Oh, yeah.
I took a picture of that and put it in my notes and just wrote, "We are not the same person." So thank you, Kathany.
Yeah, thank you, Kathany. Really appreciate that. Wow.
And I have another one to show you that's from Don Morris. It's so I have my Google Mail in dark mode.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I can't read some of it, but it's basically, if I put it in white mode, Don made us another merch idea, and it's a praying mantis, and then above him there's one of those red circles with the slash through it, like the ghost one, and it's crossing out the word seasonings. And then on the bottom it says, "Pray without seasoning." And
that's awesome.
Pray without seasoning.
Thanks for that, Don. We really are going to turn these into merch. We're going to be rich and rule the world.
Yes.
Not only are praying mantis awesome, but I actually don't like seasoning on my food for the most part. So, yeah.
That jumped out. Given
I have to have seasoning.
I just put pink salt on my food. I actually boycotted black pepper. I used to put, oh no, that's terrible, because Pastor Jim said he put black pepper on everything.
Oh, that means there's more black pepper for Pastor Jim. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's viral.
But yeah, actually this kind of falls into the sermon feedback a little bit. But yeah, the salt, I'll put pink salt on everything, but I won't put anything else on my food pretty much when it comes to seasoning. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, great segue, Tim. I appreciate the help with that.
Yeah, thanks.
One thing we're really, wanting to hone in on for season 2 is sermon feedback. We really want to be able to expand on our, feedback for you. And again, focus in on the discipleship of things. So somehow we're going to go through 3 sermons worth. It'll be very brief. Sort of. Maybe you're going to have
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But we're going to go through, I'm going to name all 3 sermons that we went through. And I'm also going to reference the Bible verses that were associated with them. So if you would like to look back, you're welcome to do so. The first sermon out of the 3-week sermon series, Growing Together, was on the call to discipleship. And we were in Matthew chapter 4, verses 18 through 22. The second sermon was Following Jesus Daily, from Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. And then this past Sunday was Just Do It, by Matthew chapter 10, verses 5 through 15. So I'm excited to get everybody's feedback on what, as a whole, with the sermon series, things that stood out to you, things that really spoke to you. Maybe you recognize things that you're doing really good when it comes to growing together. I think us doing our podcast is something we should give ourselves a pat on the back for, because we're growing together.
It's true.
As Methodists. So
the accolades.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys thought about all 3 of those. And Tim, Beth, do you guys want to go ahead and get started? One of you?
Tim,
I can go.
Cool.
Unless you want to go, Beth.
Go
Well,
for it, Tim.
Okay. So I went on like a marathon with these sermons. Like I only had like an hour to listen to all three because, I want to have it fresh in my mind before the podcast. And this is actually a really cool thing in general, to listen to an entire sermon series in one go. I think that's really great for anybody to do. That way you get the big picture of what Pastor Jim is talking about. And I also noticed that because we regularly listen to Pastor Jim and his sermons, I could put it on 2x speed and I can understand everything that Pastor Jim is saying. So that was kind of cool. I really like that. But I can't really talk that fast as Pastor Jim talks at 2x speed. And he was moving around really fast. His body language, it was very cool. So anyways, I did get the big picture on all of it. And there were some really key things that I took away. The first thing was how Jesus kind of like what is it? What would you call it? That turned the whole like convention upside down, so to speak, when it comes to like rabbi, like what is the expectations of a rabbi are like basically. I just thought that was so cool. Like the fact is, you would have somebody who's so studious and following a rabbi, and then the rabbi would invite the extremely studious and like gifted like person following to like follow him. Whereas with Jesus, he would invite like those that are not part of like that group. I thought that was really like an amazing thing that Pastor Jim brought up. Like, and it really provided like a lot of context for why the disciples just immediately followed Jesus. And I think that's like an invitation for all of us to like follow Jesus and realize that he is inviting all of us, that not the most like studious or gifted among us, but everyone. And that certainly goes to show like the fact that he was spending so much time with like the tax collectors and people that are down and out and sinners and like other people who would not even really like the Pharisees would not even want to associate with. So I thought that was really like cool. And that really provides a lot of context for like what it means to follow Jesus. And then also I was thinking about how like love is just such an important thing. And I think if we put love first, then it kind of like spells out our capability to cultivate those discipleship relationships. And I really like how Pastor Jim kind of put it all together at the very end, like on his last sermon, where it's like, okay, how do we get disciples? Like, how does that even happen? So like the most accessible and relatable thing that anybody can do is to just like everybody that we're already talking to, like our friends, our neighbors, our family members, and so forth, just start talking about Jesus, start talking about our faith and those really meaningful things that really provide profound like opportunities for us, like just kind of having that vulnerability. It's kind of interesting, like going through that sermon series today earlier. I happened to reach out to a friend that I had lost touch with for many months. And it's kind of an interesting coincidence that I reached out to her because I felt like she was one of my closer friends that I just kind of lost touch with for no reason. And I realized that I actually like can be vulnerable with her. So maybe that's an opportunity for me to develop like a discipleship kind of relationship with her. So it's like those like friendships that we have, those family members and everybody. I think that we don't have to just approach like strangers or anything like that to follow Jesus, but within our immediate group. I think that's just like a really powerful thing in general. And then last, like the short thing is, I didn't understand the light and the salt until Pastor Jim talked about it. Like Jesus saying that we're the salt of the earth or we are the light of the world. That really provides so much more like context to that. And I think that's really like an amazing thing to think about, like that Jesus would say that about us, like the average person, that he's inviting everybody to follow him, is saying we are the salt and the light of the world. I think that's really powerful and cool. So
Yeah. I love that. Thanks for sharing your feedback, Tim.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica.
Yeah. Beth, did you want to jump in?
Yes.
Whoa, that was a big jump.
Sorry.
No,
Did she jump?
I didn't.
Yeah, that was like probably the furthest jump I've ever seen in my life.
I literally was able to jump from one side of my house to the other.
It was crazy. That was crazy.
Wow.
Yep. It was really cool inside my house. Yes, but that is true. Yeah. So should I just share all three of my feedbacks?
I think that's what I did. So yeah, we're
right.
Really happy to hear that, Beth.
I labeled mine sermon 1, 2, and 3.
Same.
I don't know what I did. I just created some like hot, what is it, like
I
soup
wanted to know that,
something?
like, because I wanted to know where one started and the other one ended. I didn't want them all to blend together.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad I did that, because these all would have just blended together.
Mine was just a blend, like a vegetable blend of some sort. I don't know.
It was a delicious coffee blend, Tim.
Very
definitely
nice.
A medium roast for sure.
Just talking as someone who's not drinking a lot of caffeine.
Don't make me sad.
I would kill for a minute.
Would you like the medium roast? I have it here fresh and hot for you.
I liked what Pastor Jim was saying about Jesus's disciples and how they weren't the best of the best. They weren't the few, the proud, the Marines. They were like the guys.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry.
No. But yeah, like.
Yeah. Just like us, just like any other person,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonah didn't want to go on his journey with God. Not my son, probably him too, but I'm talking about the one in the Bible. Yeah. And that's how I describe our church so often. Just, it's a ragtag group of misfits.
Yes.
I just feel like our church is the island of misfit toys. I'm doing. I really do feel like.
That's amazing.
Oh wow, that is so cool.
And statistically, Methodists only invite someone to church once every 38 years.
What?
That's insane.
Yeah,
What?
that is.
I feel like I just need to go knock on someone's door and invite them to church right now. But church isn't happening right now, and I'm going to stay in. I liked what he said in sermon number 2. He said, and this line really resonated with me. He said, salt of the earth means our lives should bring out the flavor of those around us. Particularly, but then he went on to say, helping to be all God has called and created them to be as well. So we're helping each other. Let's see. We are the light of the world, not the church, the world. It doesn't stop at church.
Yes, that's right.
And we are called to choose to be salt and light. You have to want to. And then Pastor Jim put up a slide that said how Christians meet their discipleship community. And when I was attending the church across the street, I met someone in the park who invited me to the MOPS group, the Moms of Preschoolers group that their church had. That's how I became involved in that church. But how I became involved in the United Methodist Church is my kids were going to a school that Margaret Wassner was teaching at. She was their second grade. Well, she was Owen's second grade teacher. And I knew who she was because I had met her briefly when Owen was in first grade the year before. But then she was Owen's teacher. immediately became one of my very favorite people in the world. But when she wasn't being the best second grade teacher, she was spending her Monday and Wednesday evenings teaching Zumba in the fellowship hall at Palmdale United Methodist Church.
Oh, that's what we need to bring back.
Yeah, I know. But she's retired.
Yeah.
Busiest person I know, but she's retired. Yeah. So, but I was thinking about that kind of stuff. Like that was kind of what was getting me thinking about like, what's the stuff that I like? What can I bring that's not church specific, but it's in an environment where we can talk about our faith and all of that. So it doesn't even, and really, I took the Zumba class and decided I really liked everybody in the Zumba class, and their ideals and beliefs seemed to line up with mine. And I was like, I'm going to give this church a try, because if this really cool person goes here and, these people are cool, maybe. And so, yeah, that's how I came to the Methodist Church, and look at me now. And
wow.
And that was sermon 2. Okay.
It's kind of like a 3-course meal or something.
And for dessert.
And then, okay, so on to sermon 3. So Pastor Jim is planning a trip to Tokyo because his wife is a quarter Japanese and his mother-in-law is half Japanese. They've never been to Japan. He mentioned all of this in the sermon, in case you guys want to go back to fact check what I just said. But he put up on screen like 4 really long, they looked like CVS receipts of notes that he had made in his iPhone. And he said that it wasn't 4 separate notes. It was one really long continuous note that he had to break up into 4. And I'll never be the Pastor Jim who is going to be this prepared for a trip that it's just never going to happen. I'm going to tell you how I packed for the staff retreat. This is what happened. I got up and said, I'm going to get up at this time. I didn't get up at that time. I just frittered away an hour for no reason, probably overslept. And then I washed all of the clothes that I was going to take that morning and put it on quick wash because I didn't have time to do a full wash. And then when my clothes were in the washing machine, I remembered that I volunteered to bring lunch for the day for Wednesday. So I had to still go to the grocery store to buy lunch. Wow. So I did that, and I just quickly did all of that and came home, put my clothes in the dryer. And then instead of folding anything or even deciding what to take with me, I just took all of the clothes out of the dryer and put them in a giant IKEA bag and put that in my car. That is how I packed.
Was there a dryer there?
No, I the dryer at home. I have a quick wash setting for my dryer here, and it can wash clothes in 30 minutes. But I don't trust that you can dry clothes faster because that's probably the amount of time.
So anyway. Did they end up getting dry?
Yeah, they were dry enough. I put them in for an hour. It's more like an hour and a half. That was my laundry situation, and so that's how I packed, because my brain can't focus on the things that are ahead. It needs to be finished with the thing that just happened first.
Right.
And, it's really dumb, and I'm like, oh no, the thing is right now, and I am not prepared. And
yeah, my therapist referenced that for those with ADHD, it's like we're looking at an internet browser and we have a million tabs open, but all we can see is the tab that's in front of us. So we literally have no idea what else is in the other tabs, but we know that it's so important. But we're just not looking at that right now.
Oh, it's stuff, but we can't focus our attention on that right now. Our brain can't process that right now. Our brain is trying to be right here. It's really dumb. And then we put up a slide top 5 reasons Christians are not interested in being a disciple maker. And the bottom one says, this sounds like the job of a church leader or ministry professional. And that got me thinking, is that how I ended up on the children's ministry? Did I accidentally sign up for a job when I meant to sign up for discipleship? Sorry, Jessica. What were your feedback?
What is your feedback, Jessica? Yeah, that was awesome, Beth. Thank you for sharing that.
Those were good. That was good feedback, Beth. And mine kind of goes with like kind of what everybody said, but I'll break it down into the 3 sermons just like you did, Beth. So for the first one, a couple things that stood out was, in a global study of 18 to 35-year-olds, only 33% felt deeply cared for. And
no, it was 22%.
In a global study from the first sermon?
Oh, no, I was thinking the last sermon. So sorry.
Oh, okay.
No, the second one.
Either way, it's very low.
That's too many.
Right. It's lower than 50%.
Yeah. And only 32% felt that someone else believed in them. And discipleship is a powerful way to meet a communal need for vulnerability and companionship. And I liked how they referenced 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 8, because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well. So it's not just sharing about God. It's about sharing our lives, our livelihood. So opening our home. So that kind of stuff. The second sermon on following Jesus daily, there were a couple things. And to kind of go off the salt of the earth thing that you mentioned, it was like, if salt has lost its taste, it is no longer good for anything. So I thought that was really good to kind of expand on the salt of the earth reference as well. The decisive factor is not who has enough hours in a day, but rather who is willing to creatively commit the hours they do have to grow in their faith and help others too. So I think that goes with like, a lot of times we feel like we don't have enough time to do things. And that's just a reminder that it's a decision and we have to be willing to commit the hours to grow in our faith and to help others as well. And that goes, I think this goes to the 22% you were talking about, Beth. Only 1 in 5 say that their friends care about and contribute to their personal growth.
That is what it was. And I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, that's really hard to believe.
Crazy, because I think that goes to show, like, just
how lucky we are.
Yeah, just we're so fortunate to be with people that we feel like really care about us, and if something were to happen, we know that a casserole train would probably be started. Like people would show up, just certain things, and it's just really incredible. And then let's see, for the third sermon, I really liked this because I think it just goes to show with, what you shared, Beth, about the last the fifth mention of why people, and it's like they don't feel like they're like a ministry leader, and it's like it's okay not to know everything. Being in a discipling community or relationship is more about embracing vulnerability than having all the answers. And I think that's kind of one thing I love about just people that I put in my circle, because I think it's a choice of who I want in my circle. I don't want people who are going to bring me down, people that aren't going to, flourish my life in some way, just whether it's creatively, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, any way. I want people to be able to build me up in some way. And vice versa. I want to be able to do the same for them. And so I think it's just a reminder that, for me, I almost like when my friends don't have all of the answers all the time, and we can learn together.
Those are know-it-all.
All share our insight together. And this is one thing I do love about our young adult life group is that everybody has amazing insight into things, and we all don't have the exact answer to things. We don't. And so it's just really nice to be able to be in that environment and to kind of go off of, the whole just do it thing. I think a lot of us, when we think about how we're going to pray about this and how we want to pray and set the tone for our prayer to God in terms of discipleship, one thing I like to do on my end, and what I encourage everybody to do, is not do this. Don't pray, don't go, God, I pray that I can share my faith.
No.
So what you want to do is say, God, give me an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
That's what it is. It's, because you want an opportunity to share your life with somebody.
Yeah.
Not, I just pray that I can just share my faith. Well, you need an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think that's the direction that I love. Like when it comes to anything I'm working on, like if I'm trying to live a more patient life, a life with self-control, things kind of like that, my prayer will shift to, God, give me the opportunity to have patience.
To have patience.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's more of a balanced prayer to God is, God, make me happy. No, God, give me an opportunity to be happy. Give me an opportunity to, those kinds of things. And so I think that's kind of a culmination of all three sermons is, God, give us an opportunity to be disciples. I think that's the biggest thing to kind of take away from this is use us. How can we be of use? And we pray for those opportunities. And so what comes of that, maybe we reference the First Thessalonians of being able to share our lives with people and share our faith. But that's ultimately kind of what I took away from all three of those. So sounds like we all had some great insight these past 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jessica. And yeah, I love both of your feedback on this. We all had different ways of looking at those sermons. And that's what I love about this podcast. It seems like every single time we have our own way of looking at the sermons that Pastor Jim shares with us. And it just, it creates like this really like interesting, like multifaceted, like understanding about the sermons and just about like faith in God and love for God in general. So that's just really cool. Yeah.
Well, do you guys have any prayer requests for this next week? I know there's a lot of exciting things coming up. Maybe we pray that God will give us an opportunity to be disciples.
Yeah. I think that's a prayer for all of us for sure.
Yeah.
See you next week, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. But no.
Blah, blah. Yeah. No, but do you guys have any specific prayers, anything that is going on in your life or anything in other people's lives that you know of that we should be praying for?
I have something. So this morning I woke up and I mentioned this before we started recording to Beth and Jessica here, but basically this morning I just woke up and I was bummed out. I don't know why. There was nothing that I could think of that was bumming me out. Just whatever kind of sadness. And I looked it up and may have something to do with like a circadian rhythm being off. So that makes sense because I used to wake up at the same time every day and now I'm not really doing that anymore. So like, that's probably how I'm going to approach, like my sleep going forward. And that should help me feel better in the morning. But, just a prayer for me to, if I do run into those circumstances where I feel a little bit sad or a little bit, like not optimistic, a prayer for me to just kind of like maybe, reach out to God or reach out to, like a neighbor that I feel like I can talk to about these things, and or maybe even just like gather up like the insight within myself to like maybe take care of myself better, but also a prayer for anybody else that like occasionally has some sort of sadness, whether it's just because of bad sleep or because of some actual life circumstances. Because I think maybe anybody could use a prayer like that at some point.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. Beth?
I would like to pray for the opportunity to take more off of my plate. Not really, but as I was doing my improv class, and taking a writing class that overlapped with the improv class, and taking dog training classes that overlaps with choir and improv class and the writing class. Like, I thought I was cutting back on stuff, but then when I just looked back at the last few months, I was like, no, that's so much stuff I was doing at the same time. And Jeannie, the office manager, and I sometimes talk about how we're one thing a day people. And like, we'll do one thing a day. Like, if we go out on Saturday, we're going to go for a beautiful hike. We're going to have lunch, and then we're going to come home and nap for the rest of the day or whatever. That's the one thing a day. So I decided I need to do one activity at a time in addition to the one thing a day. So that was like 4 activities all at one time that I was trying to do successfully and wasn't juggling them very well. So just prayers that, even though I thought I was doing a lot better with my time management and doing things that I wanted to do for me, there is still such a thing as too much, and I just need to space things out a little bit more. So
totally.
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
for time management always and every ways.
Amen.
Yep. Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Jessica, what about you?
Continued prayers for my pregnancy. I mean, I'm just literally expanding at this point. The baby size of an onion, a large red onion right now, and can start to hear. I haven't been able to feel it move yet, but I'm at 17 weeks right now. So I think anytime between now and 20 weeks is when you start being able to feel the baby move. So that's fun. What has also been exciting is back pain, lower back pain specifically, to the point where we ended up getting a new mattress because, I already have, I don't know if many people know this, but like technically I'm a disabled veteran because I have chronic back pain from the military. And so I already have that. And now adding a child to this, like, this child's going to kill me. And so we were like, I think it's our mattress. And we got a new mattress. And I literally slept so well. It was amazing. So
wow.
I just pray for, good health for the remaining 5,000 weeks of this. And
that's how it is.
Yes. And then let's see what else. I think that's like honestly the biggest thing. I'm excited for Amber to have her birthday on the 26th, which is Saturday.
Ooh.
She's turning beep years old. And
really, she doesn't look a day over beep.
Crazy. So I'm excited to celebrate her because she doesn't always have time to just stop because she's a teacher and teaches 1,000 children under the age of, I don't know how old, third graders. I don't know how she does what she does. So any chance I get.
Class.
What?
How many Dons are in her class?
honestly, I think there's 0 Dons in her class.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. But even if there were, I don't think I'm allowed to say it.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say, because I do know there are no Dons. There are no Dons early light. So yeah, I think maybe pray for Amber so that she can always remember to find time for herself and I think that'll be my prayers.
Great.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica.
Yeah.
One other prayer that I just thought of that has to do with like the sermon series is I think a prayer for everyone to find those people, even ourselves, maybe to be vulnerable with, like actually find those opportunities for vulnerability and being true to ourselves, because I think that's what makes life more meaningful and then really gives us that opportunity to like connect with Jesus and then connect with everybody else. So a prayer for everybody to just kind of have that opportunity.
I love that, Tim. I think we did really good for our season 2.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so happy. We just heard the music for the timer, and it's like a award ceremony music or something.
It's the greatest, and I love that we can only hear it.
We might have to insert something like that audio into one of the end of our episodes or something.
We'll see. I'll talk to our engineer.
But yeah, this has just been a great episode, everybody, and yeah,
we hope that you're excited to have listened to the first episode of season 2. There's so much more to come for season 2. All the guests that we have in our list that we've created, because again, there's a lot of data, a lot of research, a lot of peer-reviewed articles that we've gone through just to start season 2. And when we mention that, we really mean we met for about 10 minutes and
there were a lot of jokes.
Yeah,
taking.
We had a 30-minute time frame, and 10 minutes of it we discussed, and then
I was
20 minutes
in the morning. Scheduled the meeting at 10. We started at 10:30. Thanks, guys. So I did have good time management that day, but also for your guys.
Yeah. Well, with that being said,
stay mad, you Methodists.
Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness.